Hi all, thanks for joining.
Hi. Hi.
Hi Emil.
Hi there.
Hi Oliver, Matthias, Vibhav. So let's give a few minutes for people to join. And as usual, oh Ramin, welcome back. We've been expecting you.
Hey, good morning and good evening and good afternoon to everybody.
Same to you. Good morning to you, Ramin. Let me share my screen. I hope I can manage that. Okay, you can see the HackMD document. I hope. I always fail with this thing.
Yeah, looks fine.
So please record your attendance as usual. Well, we know who joined us. We have a bit light agenda today, so but we can discuss any topic you want to bring up. So how have you been, Ramin, since we last talked? I think it was before New Year's break or something. You were in one of the meetings.
Oh, well, it's just been a very challenging year.
Yeah.
And just lots of things going on, and just been very, very busy. So I've kind of missed you guys.
Yeah, the same, we missed you as well. So, you know, I've been spamming you time to time. So it seems it worked.
Yeah.
So we can start with the agenda and then others join on the way. As I mentioned, it's a bit light agenda today. The first action item is as usual. The first agenda item is as usual action item review. Then we will congratulate events work stream becoming SIG. And I mean, you may have missed this, so we will have a chance to update you about what happened with the events work stream we have been having within the SIG. So I see Emil here. Maybe he can provide an update when we come to that topic. And then a quick chat on policy-driven CI/CD, which we started talking about during the last meeting. And we had some action items on that, which I failed to do my action item, which caused others to fail with their action items as well. And then a touch on standardized metadata. And then that's all agenda items we have. So the action item review. So the first action item is on Dave, together with Steve, to work on artifact metadata. And let's see if any of them joins the meeting, so we can ask if they have done any updates. Welcome, Tracy and Christy. We are just starting. So we keep the first action item open on Dave and Steve. And while we are on the topic, I am keeping quiet. Ramin, I won't ask the question, but you know what I am going to ask, or what I want to ask. No pressure. Okay. The next action item is on Steve and Tracy again to bring Ortelius standardized metadata example. So I don't see both Steve and Tracy. So we keep that action item open. And the next action item is on you, Tracy. I think, I don't remember, did we say we should close this action item? And then when you invite Dina Graves Portman to either to this meeting or end user council, and then we do it that way?
You can leave it open. I'm actually syncing with Dina tomorrow, so yeah, I should be able to hit her up and see what options we have.
Okay, then I keep it open and then we ask you again the next time I meet. Okay. The next action item is on me to create a new document to start to work on policy-driven CI/CD, which I did, but I've forgotten to send a mail-to-mail list. So I will do that after the meeting because we have some action items on Andrea to bring how Tecton approaches policy topic under the term conditions. So he can contribute that part. And then I believe Tracy Reagan to include policy-related information from Ortelius and deploy hub to that document as well, which they haven't been able to do that because of me sending the mail, same as Andrea. So I keep all those action items open. And then finally, I contacted Tracy Reagan about possible policy presentation for CDF meetup, so I can close this action item. We are not that bad. We are closing action items time to time. So that was all action items. I just realized one topic which I can add here, the white paper, because I need to get some guidance from all of you about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next topic is event SIG. Andrea, Emil, you want to talk about this and the latest news?
Sure, we could. As you all know, I guess, we have had a work stream within this SIG Interoperability to discuss not Eiffel events, but events in general in CI/CD. And during the autumn, we have actually got some more interest. We have somehow attracted more and more people. And the question was raised to us, was it in November, I believe, if we shouldn't become a SIG of our own. Maybe it was in December. So we made a proposal around Christmas, I believe it was, and then, or maybe just after. And this Tuesday, we were granted to become a SIG, and that's very good news. We're very happy for that, of course. Our sponsor will be Isaac Mosquera from Armory, and that's also great. Me and Andrea will meet with him tomorrow to discuss how to get started and how to set up the SIG and so on. So yeah, we're looking forward to starting off now, being a SIG, and we hope we can be even more active and make more progress in the work we want to do. We have several tracks we want to pursue. For example, we want to set the vocabulary on the data for these events that we want to standardize on, and we also want to make some simple implementations based on this event protocol that we intend to create. So we will have tasks for multiple persons to join us and help us with. And we have, as I said, we have attracted people from all over. So it's looking good, I think, so far.
Yeah, congratulations, Emil. I wanted to bring up as well, we want to help do an announcement around the SIG as just a way to promote it and encourage people to engage. And one idea we had was that if we could get quotes from various members of the SIG, that could help kind of tell the story rather than us just writing it. So let's say yourself as co-chair talking about the problem space, someone else talking about like the relationship to the cloud events, and then maybe Fatih, you could provide something that says how it was a spin-off from the interoperability group, and that's kind of part of the mission of that group to help drive these initiatives.
Let me action that. Since we are taking this action item in this meeting, I will add Emil, Andrea, and others who want to, give the quotes, and then you can follow this up in your work stream as well.
Yeah. When is your next meeting? Okay.
Monday, a week and a half away.
A week and a half.
Is
Okay.
it the 9th of March, whatever it is? No, 1st of March, I guess. Yes.
1st of March.
1st of March.
Okay. I'll go ahead and tag folks in the announcement, so you can start working on things, and then maybe on the 1st of March we can tie it all together.
And just so everybody knows, we did do a CDF meetup yesterday. Andy Grabner did a demo of Kepton, and before that we announced this new SIG. It's just
Perfect.
this is
Awesome.
yeah.
Great.
So we started the conversation. And if somebody does do a blog, I will. It's being uploaded to the YouTube channel under the playlist for CDF meetups. So you may want to link to that. It was a very interesting, Andy's really good at expressing this stuff, and it was a really good demo of what events are.
Tracy, do you have a link to that recording? I can add that to meeting minutes as well, if you can find
As we speak, it's being uploaded.
Okay.
I just
okay.
I will, before this is over, I should have a link for you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Tracy Reagan, in that meeting, did he talk about like the cloud events and kind of the relationship there?
He focused on the CD pipeline. I'm not sure what you mean by cloud events in particular, but he talked about the control plane. He talked about the different events. He talked about, what they call their shipyard, and, kind of protocols that we should probably be thinking about in the events working group.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
So
I'll
he did a
check it
brain
out.
dump of everything that they've sort of thought about and done with Kepton.
Nice.
But I think also that the Kepton events are actually based on cloud events, if I don't remember.
Yeah.
wrong now.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's.
they
I just wanted something about the mapping that, like, it's based on cloud events, and this is how it maps to abstract for CD systems.
Mhm.
I'll go check it out.
Okay. Any other comments, questions to SIG events? Like, based on the names I see here, like, it's great to see multiple projects, like, I don't know if I should say represented or at least taking part in the conversation within the SIG. So it's like IC Andrea, Tecton, Emil, Eiffel, Andreas, Captain, Cameron, Spinnaker. So I think it's really great start. So congratulations again, Emil, Andrea, Matthias, all of you for getting this even more, attractive. I hope you don't stop joining us. We have lots of common things to, continue working.
Sure.
Okay.
We might not be as frequent, but of course you will be represented, I would say.
Good. So that's event SIG. And the next topic is policy-driven CI/CD. Let me quickly open the slides, which was uploaded to CDF presentations repository. I'm not going to go through all the slides, just to highlight one of the slides. It's here. So this was kind of new topic for our SIG. It wasn't a new topic in CI/CD domain. As we discussed during the previous meeting, I tried to highlight some of the challenges specific to policy and how those challenges may relate to CI/CD domain when multiple CI/CD technologies are in use and their approach to policy, even what they name policy within their projects are different. Like in Tecton case, again, Christy, Andrea, correct me if I am mistaken here, you call them conditions. In Spinnaker, they are called policy, I think. In Jenkins, again, it's called policy. And apart from the CI technologies, there are external systems that could be involved in like steering how the CI/CD pipeline should enforce policies or governance in general. And based on that conversation, we start this HackMD document. As I noted before, you, Tracy, Regan, you joined, I missed sending this document link on mail list. So the idea is to do something similar to like what we did with events and standardized metadata to collect the different approaches to policy from different communities, Jenkins, Spinnaker, Tecton, Ortelius, and Deploy Hub Furo, and see how they map to each other, even on terminology context, and then see what we can do to, help end users, because this is a critical topic for all the different types of businesses, industries, either heavily regulated like finance, telecommunications, health, or even for startups. And now I stop talking, and if anyone wants to add anything on this topic.
I have some questions. It feels like there are a couple different ways that this could play out. I missed the previous talk, the previous meeting where we talked about policy-driven CD, but like I feel like this could be like one very cool way that this could happen is you identified like policy frameworks. You could potentially express policies about your entire CD pipeline in these frameworks, and then have those translate into something in Tecton or something in any of these others. Is that kind of the direction that this conversation is going, or is this more about just integrating into the existing like Tecton pipelines, like how you would verify that a policy is being followed, or like what? Because it feels like there's kind of like a very wide range of directions we could go.
Yeah, exactly. I think Tracy Reagan, you brought this topic to end user, not end user, best practice. So there are like multiple different angles. This, topic could be worked on or studied or researched. Like one angle is like pure interoperability, how you can, define your policies, like policy as code, and then how those policies could be consumed by different CI/CD technologies like Tecton, Spinnaker, and so on. That is like, you can see it like interoperability issue, because all these technologies handle policy differently or consume the policy differently. And the other aspect could be more best practice angle, like, okay, policy or governance is a challenge for organizations, how best to, ensure you keep this under control without blocking the developers delivering latest changes to production. And there may be other angles as well.
Yes, and I actually brought this up in the events, our meetup, and I did shamelessly promote you, Fatih, so I hope you're still good for March, to talk about policies. But I indicated that policies may be the guardrails for events. That there may be a convergence between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I see. Is it Christy? Are you typing that, or Andrea? Again, like webhooks is one way.
That's me.
Yeah, events is the other way. Like consuming those policies, like the ways could be different depending on like what the organizations employ for their pipelines. And the other angle, Tracy, Miranda, this time, I remember we have the governance as the topic in end user council for the fourth quarter. So one of the reasons why I want to highlight this during the previous meeting is perhaps if we could start working on this topic now, we could have some input for what end user council will be doing Q4. So we'll be more, collaborating with the end users better with like, these are our findings, how the communities approach these things, how the organizations apply these things as best practices, and so on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. Definitely +1 there.
Okay. Ramin, sorry to pull you in, but any input to policy topic from your side?
Well, yeah, at eBay, we've approached the policy side of things from a more of a badge system, where we're trying to make sure that as the manifest for a particular release is being is moving from environment to environment, and the ultimate goal is to reach production, that they achieve certain things along the way. Those things are things like making sure that a project or an application has a continuous delivery pipeline defined, and the, let's say, the build, unit tests, integration tests, security scans, all of those things are getting done as part of that automated pipeline and not manually, because all of those things are achievable in a manual way, but we don't want developers doing that manually. So all of these things that I just mentioned basically become badges that a manifest of an application that's a candidate for release receives along the way. For example, if when they finish their unit tests are reported to a central policy unit or testing policy system. That system takes the manifest ID. It basically awards a badge that says your unit tests pass. So you now get this unit test badge. And as they go through the pipeline and they do their integration tests, they report those results. Then that system says, okay, your integration tests pass. You are now awarded an integration test badge, and so on and so forth. And by the time they let's say they are ready to deploy to the staging environment, the staging environment has a certain set of badges that it requires for a manifest to have before it can get deployed. If the manifest has not achieved those badges, well, guess what? The staging environment machinery denies deployment of that manifest. It's kind of a you get things done as per the company policy for deployments into various environments, and if you have done them, you've received those badges at the time of deployment, because that's the ultimate. That's by the time you've deployed to 3 different environments. There's a feature environment, there is the staging environment, and then there's the pre-production and production environments that we have. And each one of those has a set of badges that a manifest is supposed to have. So that's how we've approached policy-driven deployments at eBay.
Yeah, I think like as you see on this pipeline diagram, like I also have like stamps or badges based on the policy input provided by whatever system, either the pipeline technology or so. Yeah, it's like gates. Like if you don't conform to this policy, your stuff is not going to end up on staging or production or whatever environment you may have.
That's exactly right. The gate actually is the deployment to a particular environment. That's the gate. And then, so the manifest is not allowed to deploy to a particular environment unless it has achieved a certain set of requirements. And those requirements, the achievement of the requirements are indicated by the badges that have been given to the manifest. So it's just a matter of how you think about whether or not the requirement for a particular release has been met. We decided to go with a badging system. I'm sure there's other ways to skin that cat, but this is how we went.
That very much sounds like the use cases we have in Ericsson as well, where we call them confidence levels or maturity levels. And we actually notify those using events instead. So we can we trigger the actual deployments or any of those based on these events instead of the deployment system searching for badges or whatever that are set on a certain delivery or whatever. The the events themselves actually trigger then the deployment. So the next step of the deployment pipeline, or whatever you want to call it, production pipeline. So we have more or less, I would say, the same use case. We just call it something less, maybe slightly differently, but it's the same thing, I would say. Very interesting to hear.
Yeah, so when I think about events, I think about how we built, put those guardrails around it, and you just described what's, kind of floating around in the back of my mind, how that would look. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and by the way, there are also, as badges are awarded by the central authority, that same authority also produces events that says a particular badge was awarded to this system, and then other systems can subscribe to those events and do things if they need to. But so the event system is part and parcel of this badging mechanism.
That's great. Interesting.
I want to ask about this regulation type of stuff. Like, again, going back to my comfort zone, like, for example, telecom space, or like health or finance. Like, I'm wondering if you can find other this type of heavily regulated like users. Maybe Tracy, I think we have some participants in end user council coming from finance. Because like the block list or privilege or that type of scans, I think everybody is doing it one way or the other. So I'm sure we can come up with pretty good list on that end of the pipeline. But this end may be valuable for that type of users as well. I don't know if anyone is speaking.
I'm thinking.
Okay. With Zoom, it's very difficult to find where who is muted and who is not. But yeah, just an idea.
Yes, and since I'm not sharing my screen, you didn't see me going. How do I answer that question? I was assuming you were asking me. Maybe you were asking Tracy M.
Yeah, both of you, just because like I forgotten the name. We have been talking about the finance industry stuff. So if you remind me.
Yeah, sorry, I was eating, I have to confess. Yeah, I think the regulation thing will be good. As it sounds, we are kind of talking very actively with the FinOps Foundation. No, sorry, FINOS, so the financial sector. And I'm going to go jump in on some of their, like they have a DevOps, like a DevOps mutualization SIG, which I think has some of these concerns. So I'm going to go along and try and see if this is relevant to them. So I can highlight that and see if we've got any takers on the regulation topic to help us shape that out.
So now we talked about the user aspects. Now we have the projects. Again, thanks, Christian. Someone put Spinnaker link there as well. So Jeremy, do you have anything in Zool for this type of use case?
Zool use case for what specifically?
Policy enforcement or conditionals, or I don't know, maybe you are using a different word or term for this.
I mean, basically, it's focused around definition of jobs. The jobs are generally user defined, but I guess from a policy enforcement perspective, we do have the concept that because configuration in the system is distributed across potentially all of the Git repositories that the system knows about, it does have a particular means of centralizing configuration for things that the operators want to basically not put in the hands of the people who control the individual repositories. And so you can certainly define jobs which are immutable, can't be changed in the individual repositories, can only be managed in what it refers to as trusted configuration repositories. And that can include which pipelines and which projects get those jobs added. So you can effectively require that specific jobs are run on specific events for projects, and the people managing those projects are not allowed to override that central decision. I guess that's maybe the closest we come to a policy enforcement concept.
Okay, so I added Zul here. Now I want to ask a question to like Ramin, Tracy, Emil, Jeremy. Now this made me realize, like, because we are working on this document, this could be again a good collection of needs from users as well. So is it okay for you? I watched the recording of this meeting and reflect what you summarized to this document. Are you fine with that? Because I will be saying eBay, Ericsson, and Zul, and to
That's
summarize.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sure, please do.
Let me capture those so we kind of see, okay, the users are already doing this and they are doing this way, and the projects or community is already supporting this in this way, so we can see the overlap between the approaches from different perspectives. Let me action myself. So anyone else wants to add anything for policy topic? Okay. I will be reaching out to Cameron as well, and maybe Kara for Jenkins and Spinnaker input. And Tracy, I reckon you already said you will add some Ortelius deploy hub info there. So yep. I think, yeah, we will have good starting point for any further conversations. So if that's all, I suggest we can move to the next topic, which is the standardized metadata. I don't see Dave and Steve here, and Dave said they had some changes in their company, so that kept him busy with some other work. He wasn't able to add input to the document. Steve said he will help with artifact topic, and we have some input there. I think Emil, you send a PR from Eiffel point of view, and Trace Regan, you said you will bring some Ortelius example there, so whenever you can do it, that would be great. So we kind of go both metadata and policy topics in parallel, and which one gets more attraction than we push with that forward. Anyone wants to say anything about the metadata topic? Okay, I take that as no. And then I want to come back to interoperability white paper, because I noticed a few things there when I was working on the references topic. So someone, let me find the name, Florian put some comments on some of the contributions from Captain and some other comments there. Looks like we missed them, at least I missed them. So Tracy, Miranda, have you noticed his comments there? And if we took his comments into consideration while we are working with the creative team to finalize the format of the white paper?
Yes, so just as an update, we did do another round of kind of looking at this. My expectation is that we are going to kind of heavily edit it to kind of summarize the key points or pull different use cases into some of the, like use the use cases as examples in different sections. So we'll take those comments into consideration, and what I'll suggest is we get the draft version in PDF form of what the white paper will actually look like, and then we have everyone re-review that. So expect things to get moved around, maybe summarized, or some of the case studies cover 2 different things. Maybe those get split up. And then I think there were a few gaps, like I noticed that I think I just saw that the Spinnaker and Jenkins case study went in, so that's good, because it was kind of seeming a shame not to have that covered. And then the other thing was talking a little bit more about the tecton approach of building blocks. So I did ask Christy Wilson. Well, I might pull some stuff from the website and then ask her to review it, just because we don't necessarily set out the tecton approach, and I think it's a key part of this story. The other aspect that sort of came up when we were looking at it was, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Like pulling in some of the other initiatives from the group, like in particular the Rosetta Stone, whether that should be featured as like in the earlier section, not necessarily case study, but we talk about trends and initiatives. So whether we should have a little summary of that effort as part of kind of one of the stepping stones or the things that has to happen to make this move forward.
Yeah,
So
we have a chapter here, Tracy, lack of shared common vocabulary. We haven't included link to Rosetta Stone here.
So maybe what we could do is we could do a little box there that says one way of tackling this has been the Rosetta Stone, and here's a little, we could do maybe a little image of it and link out to the main one. But I think I'd like to see that featured in this, because yeah, I think it's a good part of the direction.
And that actually reminds me, Christie's, I think you are also working on it, Tracy, like this CI/CD definitions, the work in progress, maybe it could be like a hint for upcoming, work or ongoing work to, describing those terms or history work.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could mention the history as well. That's a great point. Yeah. Could you tag something, comment there, just so I remember that when I go back to this. But yeah, so I think we can take more input, and I think there's we can kind of keep reworking it as we go. There's no, like, I'd love to get a version out. Regardless, folks can review, but if folks want to keep tweaking things and commenting, let me know. And I think the other thing I wanted to check with Dave Sudia, I understand he's no longer with Go Spot Check, so I just wanted to make sure he could either connect us with someone there for make sure it's kind of still an approved case study we can feature.
Okay, let me comment that as well. I don't get him, but so I add you, Tracy.
Yeah, tag me. It's on my list to follow up with him anyway as part of this work.
Okay. So and I the question I had was the references, like the referencing style, further reading, company links, like what should we include in references? I included the projects referred in different parts of the document, but should we go further than that? Like, should we include company links or such things?
I wouldn't put down company links. I would link to any articles or publications that we reference, but I think that's a good starting point anyway.
Okay. So that comment is already there. And the last question, I'm wondering if anyone knows Florian Ratbegger. I Googled him and I got Google, but I wasn't sure if he is affiliated with Google. So if any of you know him, can you ping him? I asked him question here, but he hasn't responded yet.
Okay, so this is so we can add him to contributors list.
Yeah, exactly. So I try to include everyone who contributed either directly or via comments as contributors to, you know, ensure we capture everyone contributed. Okay.
Was it Cameron who put in the Spinnaker
I
study?
think they were 3 people. Let me find Jennifer Hooper, James Borman, and Cameron. They worked together.
Cool.
I included
That's
all
awesome.
of them in the contributors.
Nice.
Okay. So that was all the topics we had. Any other topic anyone wants to bring up?
Just a quick plug for CDCon, call for papers open. Love to have everyone here submit a talk.
Yeah, the deadline's coming up too. It's March 5th. It's just around the corner.
And the early bird deadline is tomorrow, if I am not mistaken.
It is, yes. If you want a chance to be one of 5 selected talks that we do some early promotion and acceptance to the program, get the submission in by tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember the date because I submitted one proposal, hoping that
Awesome.
it gets in. Okay, deadline and early bird deadline is February 19. Okay, so everyone, please submit talks if you want to be considered as part of early bird deadline. Tomorrow is the deadline. Otherwise, March 5th is the deadline for final submissions. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, then I want to thank everyone for joining today as well. And the next meeting will be on March 4th. I hope it's not the time shift. I think this summertime kicks in end of March, or I don't remember exactly when.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we are coming close to confusion phase.
Oh my goodness, I hate that.
Yeah, but I think it's end of March or somewhere there.
Yeah.
So we will need to, you know, shuffle things around, maybe, you know, changing the meeting time, whatever. But yeah, we will talk about that during one of the upcoming meetings. I will ensure that I add the topic to the agenda for one of the upcoming meetings, so everyone knows there will be confusion.
Always is.
Yeah. But otherwise, again, thanks for joining, and talk to you in 2 weeks again. So have a nice day, evening, and weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fatty. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.